Greetings, colleagues. Ready to take your business English skills to the next level? Want to improve your ability to communicate naturally in English? Then learn these 7 advanced phrases. These expressions will add color to your conversation or presentation and demonstrate your communication skills. By understanding and using advanced phrases, your communication with your clients and colleagues will be improved. Let's level up your business English skills.
That's a viable option for all of you.
First phrase, a viable option. So if something is a viable option, we talked about option in another video. This is an alternative. This is something that we could do. We don't have to, but it's one thing that we could do. We could choose this option. If it's viable, it means that it could work. If it's not viable, maybe, that's too expensive. We could never afford it. Or that would take too many people to run. We could never really do that. Or, that's science fiction. We don't have the technology. For right now, in the 21st century, that's not a viable option. We don't have the technology for that. So when you're considering your options, we normally just call them options, but we want to consider viable options. If it's not viable, then why are we really considering it? Now, of course, we might be wrong. Maybe we think this is not a viable option. But then when you look into it, you realize, gee, maybe this is viable. Maybe we could do this. Maybe it's not as expensive as we thought. Or maybe it's not a far reach. We don't need as many people to work on it as I thought we did. Maybe it is a viable option. Next phrase, a fruitful discussion. So a fruitful discussion is one that maybe has advanced something. We got something out of it. Now, if we made a sale or we made an agreement, then I think that would definitely be a fruitful discussion. But it doesn't have to go that far. Maybe we didn't make the sale, but we kind of set up the sale in the future. We didn't make a hard agreement today, but it was a fruitful discussion. I think next time we will, or in the future we will. So that was a fruitful discussion. What does that really mean? We could imagine that some fruit came from it. Something valuable came from that discussion. Maybe it was a contract, maybe it was a sale, maybe it was an agreement, but maybe it was just understanding each other. Gee, now I understand what they're looking for. So next time, I'll be able to come up with a better offer or whatever the situation is. But it was a fruitful discussion. I got something out of it. Maybe it was money, maybe it was financial, maybe it was an agreement, or maybe it was just knowledge. Like, wow, I really understand them better. I understand their company better, or understand their problem better. So now I am in a better position because of that knowledge. That was a very fruitful discussion. What is the opposite of that? If it's not a fruitful discussion, it's kind of a waste of time. Gee, I don't want to talk to Sam again. I never have a fruitful discussion with him. No matter how long we talk, I don't get anything out of it. Nothing advances, nothing moves forward. So it's just a waste of time.
How can you think of giving up a golden opportunity that you have worked so hard for?
The garbage hauling plan was Danny's golden opportunity to get back in the game.
Next one, a golden opportunity. So gold is always good. We like gold, right? Everybody likes gold. A golden opportunity, this is an opportunity that is very good. This is a great opportunity. It's a golden opportunity. Since John is retiring, there's a new vacancy. This is a golden opportunity. Someone is going to get promoted, and that's a great position. So I hope it's a golden opportunity for me.
Plus, of course, a settlement. A golden parachute of such magnitude that his feet will never touch the ground.
Another phrase, somewhat similar, a golden parachute. If a pilot has to eject an emergency out of the plane, hopefully he has a parachute. He or she can use that parachute to go to the ground softly and survive the plane crash. Or some people like to go skydiving, where they intentionally jump out of the plane and they have a parachute, so they're able to land on the ground, relatively softly. So a golden parachute, could you imagine? Gold is very heavy. It's not going to really work as a parachute. Of course, we mean it as a metaphor, not literal, but a metaphor. This is for someone, usually an executive high up in the company, maybe the president, CEO, or a very, very top executive. And this is basically an agreement for their pension or for their retirement. If they have to leave the job early, if they get fired, in other words, get kind of kicked out, okay, move along, in their contract, they might have a golden parachute. So even though they get terminated, even though they lose their job, they're getting a lot of money to leave the building. They call that a golden parachute. So yeah, they're kind of kicked out of the plane, but don't worry about them. They've got a golden parachute. They're going to land just fine. So a lot of top executives, of course, when they negotiate a contract, they want that golden parachute. And it may be so much money that the company, gee, we should get rid of them, but, we don't want to, pay him off that golden parachute, so we'll just keep him on. They might have to almost pay him or her as much money to stay on the job or to kick them out of the job, so maybe they just keep them. It may convince them not to fire them because of the cost of the golden parachute.
We brought you in here as a stopgap.
A stopgap measure. A stopgap measure. A measure is a step that we take or action that we take, something that we do. Stopgap means this is basically a temporary fix. This isn't going to fix the problem in the long term, but for right now, it's a stopgap measure. So like there's something leaking right now, this is going to stop the leak, or this is going to plug the hole, fix the problem, but only temporarily. Eventually we need to fix whatever the big problem is, but this is a stopgap measure. We'll do it for now while we try to fix the problem overall. Or maybe we can't afford to fix it right now. For example, maybe our software in the company is outdated, it needs to be updated, needs to be replaced. We can't afford a new program right now. We can't afford to program it ourselves or to buy one and then have it customized for our company. So we can't do that this year, but we will have to do something to fix what's broken now, but that'll be a stopgap measure. It's not going to make the program perfect, but it'll make it so at least we can use it until we get to next year, and then we'll get a brand new operating system, a brand new database, or whatever the problem is. But for now, it's a stopgap measure. It'll alleviate, maybe not fix, but it'll alleviate, mitigate, it'll make the problem smaller right now, and then hopefully we'll fix the problem, the big problem, later on, or maybe at the same time. This is a stopgap measure, so we're able to use it, but we have other people working to solve the problem behind the scenes. If you're enjoying this video, then it's time to conquer that like button and make it ours.
Well, I guess that plan's moot.
Yeah.
A moot point. A moot point is something that no longer matters. Let's say we're having a big debate. We're just hiring Bob. He's a new employee in our office, and we're fighting over which office he's going to get. I don't want him next to me, or I want that office. She wants that office. He wants that other office. Where are we going to put Bob? But as we're fighting about that, we find out Bob has already quit. For whatever reason, he's not coming to work today. He's not coming to work for us. So where we're going to put Bob becomes a moot point. Bob isn't coming. We don't need to worry about it. So that debate that we're having, that discussion, that fight, that argument is a moot point. We can stop fighting now because it doesn't matter. The issue's already resolved itself.
Yes, I quite agree. In fact, that was a major stumbling block to my theory.
In the last phrase, a stumbling block. A stumbling block is something that you might stumble over. It's something that causes difficulty as we start to walk or as we start to run. We might hit it and get tripped up by it and start to stumble, to fall or to almost fall. So normally, of course, we don't mean this literally. We mean this as a metaphor, figuratively. So maybe this is a difficult part of the job. So yeah, for new employees, this is always a stumbling block. This is always something they get tripped up on, they have problems with when they get started. Maybe eventually they kind of figure it out, and then it's not an issue. But in the beginning, this is a very common stumbling block. Or It could be another situation that you just don't like. It's a stumbling block. I'd really like to work for your company. However, the low salary is a stumbling block for me. Although I think it would be a great experience, I would enjoy working there, I'm not comfortable with the low salary. I don't know if I can get past it. Maybe I can, maybe I can't, but that's a stumbling block. Or I really want to work for your company, but it would mean I have to relocate to this other city. That's kind of a stumbling block. I really don't want to move to that city. I like where I am now. If I could move to your branch office in this other city, then it wouldn't be a stumbling block. I'd love to live there. But if it means relocating to that first city, I don't know if I want to take the job or not. It's a stumbling block. All right, now it's your turn. Hopefully you got something out of listening to me, but you'd get even more if you take part, you participate. I want to ask you to write down at least one sentence using one of the phrases, one of the 7 phrases that we discussed in this video. So make up a sentence and put that in the comments. If you want to do a sentence for each of the 7 phrases, that's even better. You'll definitely get something out of it. But write down one sentence, type it in the comments, and I look forward to seeing what you come. Now it's time for this next video. This video will teach you how to handle questions during a presentation. So if you haven't seen that, watch that video now. Before you go, conquer that like button and make it ours. Work hard today and enjoy tomorrow.